Hello, everyone. Thank you for watching another episode of the Quisha King Show. And we're going to be discussing why the left seems to win with bad ideas. And also, we're going to discuss what conservatives can do to win with good ideas, great ideas. If you are curious to know how the right can win with good ideas, keep watching. So, I know you guys have seen, you guys know who the Democrat Party is, you know what progressives are. Progressives, if you don't know, progressives are a more far left wing of the Democrat Party. They actually have more control of the Democrat Party, which is why they are a problem for America, really, because their beliefs are pretty communist. Those ideas have been tried, they have failed, but they believe that instituting those ideas into American society to be good for our country. Well, the more control progressives have gotten over the Democrat Party, the more crazier our country has gotten. So as you can see, these ideas are not working anyway. But why are their ideas so successful? Only in politics, it seems like bad ideas can actually go forward because there is no accountability pretty much when it comes to politics. So the very first reason why Democrats, why their bad ideas win is because number one, their ideas are superficial. So, yes, their ideas are very superficial. Many times they put out these slogans, these phrases, these buzzwords that sound really good, but there's no depth to what they're talking about. For instance, everyone should get a $15 minimum wage. $15 minimum wage. Oh yeah. Why shouldn't everybody make at least $15? I mean, hey, why shouldn't everybody make $100 an hour? But they constantly pound that into the mind of society, and many Americans have been taught what to think and not how to think. So when the idea goes out, and we have a society that has been dumbed down through the public education system, public schooling system, excuse me. People don't know how to think about this idea. So when you hear $15 minimum wage, you're like, yeah, why can't everybody get a quote living wage? Well, they don't ever talk about what that really means. They don't ever talk about, well, if the government is putting a demand on the price of labor, then you could price that job getter, the employee, the potential employee, and the employer out of the market, because you are an external factor, the government, trying to come in to tell. Let's draw this out a little bit. So here you have the business owner, right? So you've got the business owner. We'll put a little b. And then you have the potential employee. Business owner. And the government, so these two people are trying to do business together, right? So they are voluntarily deciding to do business together. This is a voluntary contract between these two people. Well, here comes the government that says, here's this outside factor big gov, which is an ugly hairy monster, is going to come in and dictate to this guy when he has to pay this person, when this entity has no idea what it takes for this business to run. Because they're going to say $15 across the board. Well, what if their entry-level position is $16? What if their entry-level position is not worth $15? So you can't, the government is giving a superficial number without knowing anything about this person or this person. Because what if you're willing to work for $2 an hour because it's $2 more than what you already had? Well, you can say, well, how could somebody work for $2 an hour? That's completely insanity. Well, it doesn't benefit the business owner to pay you well below what other people could pay you for that same skill. So let's just say this guy's a scumbag. And he's like, well, I'm just going to pay, people $2 an hour, but all the other businesses are starting people out at $20 an hour. Obviously, no potential employee is going to come to this guy. So the government comes in and is pricing both people out of a employee and this person out of a job, which is feeding their family, which is taking care of their responsibilities. Same thing for this person. So the first idea is they are superficial. They don't dig down into what these ideas really mean. And because we have a society that doesn't understand how these things work, because we haven't been taught these things, it's easy to sell $15 minimum wage because there's no depth and there's no real substance to what they're talking about. So again, along with words, because the left uses a lot of words to manipulate people, the second thing is sounds good, but it's not based on principle. Okay? In order for something to work, it has to be based on some foundational principle. So in order for something to be good, there's going to be, y'all know the law of polarity. There is the law of reaping and sowing, meaning if you sow, then you will reap. There's a law of first principles, first mention. There are many different universal laws that we get from the Bible, from nature, that we have to apply. What goes up must come down. And principles are important because anytime you use a principle, that principle has to stand in any circumstance. All right. So I don't care what building you jump off of, gravity is going to take effect. Okay. I don't care where you are on the planet. I don't care what you do. If you don't have some type of other apparatus, a parachute or something, if you jump off, you're going to go down. So principles function because they are foundational and they function in any situation, regardless of the circumstance. And because the left they're superficial and they sound good, but they're not based on principle, people don't understand the need for things to be based on principle, and they don't understand why these ideas don't work. So, for instance, the thing that first comes to mind is school choice, right? And so people will say public education everyone ought to have a good education. So why don't we have the government come in and give everyone the same education? The problem with that is it's not based on a principle, because the principle of reaping and sowing comes into play. So if you have public school and they have not sown into good teachers, they have not invested or sown into a good curriculum. Well, the state mandates the curriculum. So automatically the principle is it's already on shaky ground, because now you have one system that's supposed to be a good fit for all. The investment has not been made because it can't really be made in the way it should be, because a system trying to teach all the little kids who are all different, they all come differently, it's going to you're not going to be able to reap a harvest from those children like the way you would want to, because they're all different. So you haven't sown into those children to get a harvest from those investments. And so they are functioning in the idea of a utopia. Oh, well, every kid ought to have a good education. And they're saying, well, the government should be the one to institute that. And so because it's not based on anything, it's based on the thought, the ought, and not what is foundational, it doesn't work. So again, these these ideas, they're superficial. They sound good, but they're not based on any real founding principles. You have to have it can't just sound good. It has to be based in principle. The last thing that the left does is they tap into your emotions. Now, this is not inherently a bad thing, because you will hear me say that we need to tap into people's emotions, because we want people to be moved. We want people to feel inspired to take action. We want people to feel inspired to do something, to get involved with our organization, to go out and vote, and to advocate for a policy. So when you put all three of these together, the ideas are superficial, they sound good, but they're not based on any principle, and they're tapping into your emotion. This is a setup for a bad situation. This is why the left's ideas do not work, because when you put all three of these together, it is utter chaos, because there is nothing grounding anything. It's just words. And so now you have a society, as we can see, it's just full of chaos. No one is grounded. Here's what we can do as conservatives to win with good ideas. Basically, we just do the opposite. We do what actually works. So, number one, we have ideas of depth. So, smaller government. If we want the government smaller, so here's the government. If you have a big government and they are telling all the citizens what to do, they're dictating all the citizens what to do, that is a lot of power in the hands of a few amount of people. It's all the agencies, the FBI, the DOD, the CIA, the FHA, the DOE, Department of Education. You got the DOJ, which is IRS. Don't forget your money. You got FBI, but all of these three-letter agencies that are dictating all of the American citizens what to do. Well, when you shrink this, you get rid of some of these agencies, and so you have less people who are governing the people, and you are able to govern yourself, because that was the plan of the founding fathers, to create a society where you were able to self-govern. We had the government where they were to have some control, like over the Department of Defense, and making sure that our country was protected, and making sure that our rights were never superseded as humans. But that's kind of going out the window. So that's why you don't want ideas that are just superficial. You want ideas of depth. Number two, now you have to make them sound good and be built on principle. This is where conservatives struggle a lot. Sound good and built on principle. So when conservatives are explaining to people why our values work, what we're all about, we kind of just, we've adopted, you guys know, I've said before, we've adopted the facts don't care about your feelings. When we're just like, well, this is the facts, this is the data, da, 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 da. It's not very connecting. Nobody's going to want to connect with you if they don't feel like you actually care about them. Someone said it in one of the comments one day. They said, people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Very well said. And that is a very good quote, because as long as if we can't make it sound good and connect to people, they don't care if it's based in values. For instance, small business. So when you have a small business or somebody who's interested in small business, many times you'll just hear conservatives say things like, we're the party of small business, or, own your own business. You won't have the government over your shoulder. But if we're not really explaining what that really means, it's not going to connect. So, I would be coming up with a slogan right here on the spot, but making an idea sound inviting for instance, if we said something like take control over your life and reach your dreams or something like that, like have full control over your life and get the car, buy the home you've always here. That's a good one. Have full control over your life and buy the home your family can feel safe and secure in. Oh, well, what is that about? Oh, well, small business ownership is the way to do that. Oh, really? Well, I was thinking about starting a small business. What is this about? Oh, well, let me tell you. Here's why you need to start a small business. After you build that relationship with the person, now you're helping them get this good sounding idea that is built on principle. Well, what is the principle? A man that doesn't work will not eat. I'm quoting it kind of funky, but y'all know what I'm talking about. The principle is, again, reaping and sowing. What you put into something, you will get out of. And you maintain control because you don't want outside forces to be able to tell you what you can and cannot do with your life. So the left wants you to have more dependency on the government. Well, when you have a small business, you get to control your own life. You have better control of your life. Guess what? You don't really have to worry about healthcare because you're a successful business owner. You can go and buy your own healthcare. You can make sure that your family is successful. And if we instill those values into society, here's why you want to have a family, because people that have families show much greater statistics of success. We can start to look at business owners and we can see many of them have families. They are married. They have children. They want to pass that on to their children. So there are so many ways that you can base conservative sounding good sounding conservative ideas on a principle. We just don't do it very well. The third one is one that I think the left is right about. Tap into emotions. So you saw on the last one when I was like, something that sounds good, live the life of your dreams and buy the home that you've always desired. Okay, well, how do I do that? That is tapping into someone's desire, the house of your dreams, making sure your family is safe, feeling, protecting your family. But you have to be able to connect with the people. You have to be able to build that connection. So many times people think that conservatives are not compassionate because we come off so statistic driven and, gotta own the left. And it just, there's no connection and there's no real compassion. And so if we can start with these and build on these, then you will set yourself up to attract more volunteers into your organization. You will set yourself up to attract more conservatives. You will make more conservatives across our nation. I hope that this has been very helpful for you. If you have any other ideas of what we can do to better sell our values to America, drop them in the comment section below. If this video has been super helpful for you, click the subscribe button, hit the like button, and share this out, especially to other grassroots organizations. And if you are looking to get more information on growing your grassroots, click the link in the description box below. I will see you next time. Bye.